honestly, it's been the thing that's driven me forward. You just keep hustling, and nothing's as hard as we really make it up to be. A lot of things are just in our head. Don't overanalyze everything. Just please do it. You're going to thank yourself later.
Welcome, everyone, to the Road Less Traveled Show. This is a show about people that were successful in a previous career and left that career to go down a different path. I'm your co-host, Richard Coyne.
And I'm your co-host, Bill Zahller.
On today's show, we're so pleased to have Christina Kovacs with us. Christine, welcome. Christina.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, Christina. Thank you for being again on the Road Less Traveled Show. To start with, can you tell our listeners a little bit about your background, what your former career was?
So my former career has actually been, it's a little unconventional compared to most. At 20 years old, I started in a subprime mortgage company because I saw an ad that said I could make $100,000. So I quit college to do that. So I did. Eventually ended up going back and finishing school. But that was how it first started. I really I've always been business oriented. I've had a job ever since I was 10 years old, babysitting. So consistently preferred work over education in school, but always had that underneath my belt as well. So it started there, but since then it's become a morph of different things that have made me who I am today and where I am today.
Mm-hmm. And how long were you in the initial subprime mortgage business? 2 years. Okay. And
it wasn't that long.
Yeah. And what have you transitioned to? You went back to school and then back into the workforce. So what have you transitioned to now?
Yeah. So when I left, I actually met my husband at that subprime mortgage company. And we both quit same time. And we had this goal to never go back to corporate. So that's exactly what we did together ever since. So it's been 18 years of putting the hustle in and whatever it's taken to have our own businesses, make our own schedules. That's what our main goal was. So we did a variety of things. One of the things, we bought into a franchise for an anti-theft device for vehicles. So we still own that franchise today. And we bought that back in 2006. We've helped build each other's businesses. And my primary role is the real estate side of our business. So it started as an agent after we did our first rehab and realized it was such a simple process to make such a large commission on these buying and selling. So just all these little light bulbs started going off. And that's when the real estate bug caught me, was when we did our first primary house purchase and rehab.
Okay. Oh, excellent. Yeah. And are you still doing the rehabs then today?
Yeah. So right now I'm a broker now, just in my own agency. I don't have any overhead. I'm just me, broker owner. And I work with personal referrals now. No more random leads and driving tourists around South Florida to show homes, and fix and flip. This year we only had one in the pipe that got completed. I have nothing in the pipeline as far as single family residential flips. It just hasn't been enough opportunity for that right now. But a year and a half ago, I transitioned to multifamily investing. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at right now. Still a broker, but my focus is multifamily investing.
Well, excellent. And what geographical areas are you looking at for that?
So I have my limited partner deals. I'm in the Southeast mostly, but my joint venture deals with my partners, that I have 4 other partners, we're in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So are those, what's the size those deals are in terms of the multifamily deals?
Yeah. So one is just north of Kansas City, and that's a 54 unit deal, built in the mid 70s. And then the other one is south of Kansas City in Springfield, and that's 43 units. And that was built in 93.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And the LP deals, are they similar size? Are they larger?
They're larger. Well, one is actually only 60 units in Denver, Colorado, that one. Okay. But the others are in North Carolina, Kentucky, and those are larger.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Good. So Christina, is there a funny story you can share somewhere? Maybe it was your first mortgage days, that you could share?
Yeah. So, I mean, during those moments, I was completely naive. So I had no idea what we were really doing. I just knew, just a sponge of whatever my manager told me to do. I was like, okay, I got it. I'll do it. That's the beauty of kind of hiring a young person. Like, you can just mold them into whatever you need them to be, and they will be it for you. So that's who I was. So pretty much, and the worst leads give them to me, I'll take them. The cold calling, no inhibitions, didn't care. Like nothing can hurt or stop me at that moment in my life. So for me, that was a huge learning experience to be able to do all those things. But funny story is, since I was only 20 years old, I couldn't going out to happy hour with everybody and having that camaraderie. I had to have a fake ID. So I had to get a fake ID for that career that I had, and just hoped that nothing would happen. And luckily I slid right through for a couple happy hours. So
you didn't already have it for college. You needed it for work. Wow. That's
right.
Haven't heard that one before. Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, Christina, what was the deciding factor? You mentioned that you both quit the subprime and your husband at the same time, but was there a deciding factor why you didn't want to go back to corporate? It was the freedom, or just you started to get an entrepreneurial bent from a young age?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just the freedom of time and be able to say, like, we want to go on vacation here without putting a request, and wait for that HR to say, okay, you can take this, or you don't have this much time left, or if you are sick, it happens. But we always have responsibilities to other people. So we're still working for other people as independent contractors along the way, but you still can say, I only want to take on a contract for 6 to 9 months, or whatever the case may be, so that freedom was a huge factor. And we also enjoyed our time together too. So a lot of things we did were together. We did some things separate, but it was fun to grow together also. So
Excellent.
That was the major part of it. But before even that, while I was in college, I did a lot of temp jobs. So I was used to going from whatever corporate situation that I needed to be in that moment and be adaptable. And them telling me, all right, this is your task for this week at this company. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then it would keep changing. And so different parts of town, all over Boston, and it didn't matter. Like it just, that adaptability and able to go with the flow and learn something new was fun. And so I also wanted that back in my life rather than being stuck in the same corporate office, the same corporate people, and just doing this almost the same thing all the time. So mixing things up was really crucial.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, Christina, as you were making that shift and you and your husband leaving the corporate world and going into follow your entrepreneurial intentions and whatnot, right now today you own multiple businesses that are, all sound like they're doing very well. Initially, though, were there some obstacles you had to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, being broke sometimes when you're, when you're trying to build something and you don't have a steady income, there's ebbs and flows. And so that we realized early on that diversification was key and we needed to have different ways to make money. So marketing promotions was something that I took on when I realized the franchise we bought into wasn't particularly doing as well as we thought it was going to do. And I underestimated how long it took to build a business and gain credibility. And you don't get repeat customers, anything. It just all takes a lot of time to build a business. So I started doing marketing promotions and acting as a market manager, hiring anywhere from 2 to 25 people for these different contracts that I would take on for different corporations where they wanted us to market a product for them. So that's something that I did for about 5 years before I got my real estate license.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Krista, as you look back, what do you think can you remember your first victory in the real estate side of it that you realized, yes, this is a achievable path and I've chosen the right horse?
Yeah, even just getting my first real estate commission check, it was so simple. And I couldn't believe that people were making that much money doing something that really doesn't take that much effort or time. Especially if you like what you're doing, right? Doesn't seem like it's hard. So that was the first big aha. And then when we did our first flip with some real estate partners, we purchased a house with owner financing, and those partners, after they saw the rehab we did, this is the second house we bought, after they saw the rehab we did in that house, which was their great aunt's house, they wanted to partner up with us and do other properties. So we started doing that with them, and the returns on that minimum were 20% ROI on it, not annual, that's annualized, but really we were getting these things rehabbed and sold within 6 months. So it was double that. And it just was a phenomenal situation. Like my head is exploding. Like we're going to snowball this. This is what our main thing is going to be for like the big punch, the big money, not just the steady money. Right. That was a huge eye opener for me for success and how to grow this real estate world.
Right.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Question for you, maybe actually just sort of related to that. I've heard, and I don't have the evidence to back this up, but I've always heard that there are a lot of real estate agents that are not real estate investors.
Right. That's true.
Why do you think that is? What is that?
I'm not, maybe because I'm not sure. I don't know. For me, I think a lot of people get scared or get hung up or get analysis paralysis. And that's not something that I've ever had to deal with. So it's really, I feel bad for the people that do experience that, because really you just need to get out there and do it and take a chance and educate yourself prior. A lot of people just go a formal route and they don't think outside the box. I don't feel like. So that would be the main reason I was off the top of my head.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, but it seems to me like such a missed opportunity, because again, if you're a real estate agent, you're out there seeing deals all the time, obviously, and we know from being in real estate that you don't necessarily have to have all the cash yourself. I mean, you can figure out, but that's creative thinking that maybe just some people just don't have the mindset to be able to go after. Well, how can I do this deal? Oh, I can partner with some of my other real estate colleagues, and let's do this deal together. Hey, guess what? You just did it, and you just made 40%, in 6 months and 20% annual ROI. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. I mean, so many people get their aha moment with Rich Dad Poor Dad or 4-Hour Work Week and all these things, but those were never my aha moments. They were just, so it's just different for each person, but sometimes they need that book, that one person to give them that moment, Yeah.
Gotcha. So Christina, more recently, is there a funny story that, happened to you and along the way, something you can share?
Yeah. So let's see. All right. So funny story recently is in the multifamily investing world, that one thing, it's not particularly too funny, but it's just one of my huge limiting beliefs, that I was so scared coming into this, because you have to network. And I had never really networked in the past, but a lot of things we've done have just been on our own, right? Like in real estate, I have my clients, we're one-on-one, and the flips, I have my contractors, I sell the property myself. I'm not needing to network with a vast amount of people to partner up and take on these larger deals. So, I mean, just coming into these networking events initially, it was just like hyping yourself up, and it's really changing my clothes in the middle of a conference. I'd be sweating so much because I'm so nervous. And so, I mean, really it's been the funniest thing, because I've grown so much since a year and a half ago, when I entered my first conference room with a large amount of people. And it's just amazing how much you can grow. And I'm just turned 40, and there's never a change. Like there's never a stop in growing and making yourself better. And so that's just been an amazing thing to see transpire and happen over the course of the past year and a half.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, again, one of the things that's, for me, in terms of just the the flexibility of doing things and constantly moving around. I like what you talked about earlier on about being a temp. You're constantly used to new different things. It could change from week to week. In my case, when I was in the W-2 world, and now that I'm retired from that, and I'm doing this real estate full time, my phone and laptop, that's my office. I can work anywhere, so, I've been able to be blessed with that for the past, 15 plus years, that's just the mindset that I'm used to. But you got out of your comfort zone. So good for you. So, yeah, it took a while, but it happened. Just baby steps.
Well, Christina, where are you today in your journey? You've mentioned, like you said, you've gone from the fix and flips, and it sounded like you're kind of transitioning more. That was obviously very, just transactional, right? You fix one, and then there's no more income till you find another property. You can reposition it, going to more of the multifamily now, where there's more residual wealth building over time, and you can longer kind of time horizon with those that can continue to put out income for you. So where are you today kind of in your transition, and where are you looking to go?
Yeah, so right now with our 2 joint venture deals that we have in Kansas City, Missouri, and the LP deals is great for the passive income, and learning about multifamily that was a great way to start, especially. And if there's another LP deal that comes up with someone that I really trust as an operator, and I love the deal, I'll invest in an LP again for sure. But I hope to grow within the Kansas City market more with our group of partners up there. And ultimately, I'm open to other markets possibly, but this has just been, it's nice to have a stronghold with leveraging other people's experience as strong operators. So me being out of state, I'm providing capital and I'm asset managing, and it's been more passive than flipping or even dealing with short-term rentals as well. So it's way more passive than that. And the opportunity for growth and executing the business plan it's exciting. It's just awesome. And I don't think some people don't even know about that either. So the next part of my journey is starting to educate people a little bit more about what I'm doing and how I got there, and how it's all going to, what's happened with the current deals that I'm in and where I see us going. So I think that so many people are missing out on opportunity, because I didn't even know about multifamily investing until 2 years ago. I thought just maybe a 4-plex or 6-plex, or 10-plex, something like that. That was what I could afford in South Florida. But I never thought that I could be in part of these larger deals.
Yeah, it's amazing when you do discover that part owner of a $15 million asset. That's pretty cool. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So Christina, is there anything you do personally or perhaps through your businesses that you can share, that you can talk about, whether you do something to give back to others, to help others?
Yeah, so we are avid travelers. So whenever we travel somewhere, we pick a place prior, reach out to them, see what we can do to help them in any way while we're there physically or monetarily, or they need certain supplies. So example is in Vietnam, reached out to an orphanage and they needed Apple products, like things that they couldn't buy there locally anymore, but they could only get here. And so we brought them chargers or things for older computers too, that we can maybe get on eBay here that they couldn't access. So the things like that we like to do when we try to give back in a way when we're traveling to local communities that we're in. So because not everyone has access like we do. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can get anything, either physically in a store down the street or, over e-commerce sites. But yeah, that's a very cool thing to do while you're out there having a nice vacation. You do something for somebody else. So very cool. Good for you. And
then my next thing that we want to do is set up a scholarship for the high schools that we both graduated from. My husband moved here when he was 14 from Hungary, not speaking any English whatsoever. So he wants to do something for someone who's coming from another country in an ESL program in high school like he was, and help them with the next steps after school. And then for me, I'd like to towards the unconventional student who feels like they're not doing all the sports they think they should be doing, or they're not going to get into college that everyone else is getting into. And but they just have a more unconventional approach, but they have the hustle and the grind and they're working after school. So I want to provide something like that too. So that's the next thing that we've been talking about.
That's awesome. Yeah. Deserving students. So very nice. Yeah. Good for you.
Well, Christina, what's something you've recently implemented in your business that allowed you to scale?
Networking, leveraging other people's experience and their knowledge. And I've just been a sponge again, like I was when I was 20 years old. And it's 2 decades later, and I literally was that person again, and it's just been so incredible, the growth that's happened with people around me, and people that I've met have become really close friends. Like there's this extended family that I never knew I was missing. But I'm so thankful to have all these people in my lives, the like-mindedness, and we're all growth oriented in this multifamily asset class. And it's been really, really cool to experience. So it's only going to keep getting better. I cannot wait to see where we're going to be in 5 years, just because it's happened so quickly with the right people. Magic happens. So
that's great. Excellent. Where are you finding your best networking opportunities? Are you doing a lot on like a LinkedIn, or is it more like meetup groups or conferences, or a little bit of everything?
Yeah, so I joined 2 masterminds. The first one was Jake and Gino. I joined that, and that was where I really got in and got the education and started networking. And then I joined MIH with Marco Barbaro and Hadar and Yosef. So with that, it's been a more intimate group of people. There's only about, I think it's like 12 of us in this group. We meet once a month for 3.5 hours. And it's just it just builds us up and gets us going after each meeting. And we're connecting at a deeper level in those groups. And then some local meetups. But honestly, it's harder to get out the door locally than it is for me to fly I was every other month I was going to a conference last year, and this year I have 2 in January already that I'm doing. But going locally at 7 p.m., 10 miles away is on a Thursday. I'm like, I don't want to leave the house. I need to work on that for 2023.
That's funny.
Well, excellent. Yeah.
Good deal. So Christina, is there some advice you might share with somebody who's considering making a path change?
Honestly, one of my LLCs is JFDI. It's just effing do it. So it's just, honestly, it's been the thing that's driven me forward. You just keep hustling and don't overanalyze everything. It's really, nothing's as hard as we really make it up to be. It's a lot of things are just in our head. So that would just be to just please do it. You're going to thank yourself later.
That's awesome. I don't remember where this quote's from, but I heard a quote that I love, and that is something to the effect of, it might be from Grant Cardone, something to the effect of rob fear of its greatest asset, which is time. Yeah. Just do it. Move. Exactly. Don't let this fester in your mind and get all crazy and bigger than it needs to be. Do it. Move forward. Yeah. And so that's a great one. So
I love it.
Well, Christina, what's the best way for our listeners to be able to reach out and learn more about what you're doing?
Christina Kovacs, Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere. Like my website, ChristinaKovacs.com, there's a Calendly link there. And I'd love to meet new people and network for 15 to 30 minutes and just get to know each other and see where we can add value to each other's lives. So.
That's great. We'll add links to that in the show notes below. Well, Christina, we really enjoyed the conversation today, and we want to wish you continued success in your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Christina, for being on. Really want to appreciate. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it very much. We'd also like to thank our listeners. Please continue to give us a 5-star rating so we can bring you more great content like today's show with Christina Kovacs. And remember, listeners, we got a few things that Park Capital Partners has going on. First, we have the Park Capital Partners Value Add Fund, which is a 506c fund open to accredited investors. Second, we have the Park Capital Partners Foundation, that is a 501(c) nonprofit. And the way that works briefly is that Park Capital Partners funds it. So they operate, all the money donated to it goes to its best work, which is to help others. Second, we donate personally. Third, we donate as a company. And then finally, when investors invest with us in one of our projects, we make a donation to honor that investor from a pre-selected list of 15 different charities. So please reach out to Bill and myself, Park Capital Partners LLC. We're happy to have a conversation anytime. Again, thank you, Christina, for being on. And remember, folks, the road less traveled may be calling you. We recommend that you listen and take action. Thanks for joining.